Fran was right in her predictions. Within a month of his interview with the president of Anita's company, Bree had completely forgotten his former life. He couldn't even remember his name, much less that his adoring if firm mommy had once been his subordinate spouse. His mommy's love kept him warm and her enormous titties kept his little tummy full of her nourishing milk. Little Bree's poo stopped being smelly after his mommy put him on a diet that consisted solely of mother's milk. Howard the stinker had vanished from the world and had been replaced by the sweet-smelling, baby Bree. A much younger Fran moved in 6 months later and took up housekeeping with a 24-year-old Anita. Baby Bree had the singular fortune of having 2 young attractive mommies to watch over him and take care of his every need. On Sundays they would put him in his baby seat in the back of the Suburban and go for long walks together in the park hand in hand while pushing Bree's expensive English silk-covered, black baby carriage with its black leather-wrapped handle before them. Inside its protected confines, little Bree lay on a flannel sheet-covered Australian sheepskin that kept his tiny body comfortable in winter and summer. His blankie was always by his side as well as his beloved stuffed ducky. Bree's didy bag was stuffed inside the carriage at the rear beneath his feet. Bree would gurgle delightedly at the sights and sounds of the woodland creatures overhead before drowsiness overtook him and he fell fast asleep on the soft blankets that his mommies provided for him. Occasionally he would wake as some admiring woman bent over his carriage and lifted his blankets to see the adorable diapered baby slumbering serenely within. If he fussed, Anita or Fran would get out one of his bottles and stick the nipple in his mouth while they talked about the details of baby care with their maternal acquaintance. Usually though, he would wake up, smile and gurgle in greeting at the face of the strange woman who was smiling down at him and wave his arms and legs ineffectually. Anita and Fran didn't worry about him climbing out of the carriage under his own power. He had become too young to turn over by himself, much less clamber over the deep sides of the carriage. Everyone thought he was the most charming, endearing baby they had ever seen, including his 2 mothers. Sometimes, if the weather was nice and they found a bench next to a soft carpet of well-tended turf, they would stop and park the carriage, then take him out and lay him on the grass to crawl on his belly while they sat on the bench, holding hands and talking. Passing women would smile at the drooling toothless infant who cooed and explored so happily at the 2 women's feet. Although each day was much the same, little Bree's inability to form long-term memories precluded any sense of being bored by the repetition of events. Every day was always a new adventure to him. He looked at each object and encounter as if he was seeing them for the first time. Each moment in time was like a gaily colored butterfly, entertaining and fleeting as it fluttered away to be forgotten in the joy of the next delight that fascinated him. Anita and Fran doted on little Bree. They would often lay him in the bed between them at night after work and cuddle him while they lay in the bed together to discuss the day's technical problems with each other. Bree would chortle with glee at being in bed with the women he adored and having them fuss over him. They in turn, delighted in having such a sweet baby boy to love who would never grow up and turn into a domineering male chauvinist pig. It may not have been the perfect solution to Anita's marital problems, but like most of Anita's even-handed resolutions, everyone was content with their lot. The company's stock soared after their new medication was placed on the market and the small company made hundreds of billions of dollars. Anita and Fran both became billionaires in their own right. Howard had no need of money, he had enough love from his 2 mommies to make him the richest baby in the world. It wasn't paradise, but the bliss of being forever young, together and financially secure was enough for the 3 of them. They lived happily ever after.